Hello everybody, today we will proceed our class. This is the last class, and next Monday is the Qu Yuan's funeral, and we will memorize him. Okay, let's talk about something related to globalization education. So let's learn with some topic that is related to the global village. The global village means our world is very little, and we should learn from each other. And actually, in 1990, Russia has peace with America, and everybody is integrated to each other, and the global village has formed in a modern way. So an English teacher should connect the student with foreigners as a bridge, and they should learn something that is related to the topics that is important. For example, some topic related to a common problem. So the structure of this book includes its topic. In page 10, we talk about globalization education, and we will introduce what global village is. And we will talk about the education example in Switzerland and Japan and China. In page 16, we talk about the transitions and educational policies in the world. And in page 20, we talk about global university education in the current period. And in page 21, we talk about globalization issues to be applied as English language teaching and learning materials. In page 22, we will talk about topics and their resources from websites. Okay. So let's start talk about this research. This is a curricula that has been practiced in university. So this study collaborates with 372 students and in 3 universities to explore methods of curriculum design, bridging the gap between typical English courses and global education concept. By applying survey education and qualitative method, the researcher investigate how globalization education is related to internationalism and English education. So this is a study for 18 weeks. The 18 weeks research project introduce 17 significant issues and measure their noteworthy sequence from Chinese aspect. It contributes to English language teaching pedagogies under the current globalization trend. Globalization is a genuine and relevant historical phenomenon. Therefore, educators should look at possible changes in the role teachers and incorporate more practice in intercultural communication, especially in English classroom. The key words of this study is globalized society, global village, single order, pedagogies, English curricula. So we will introduce this project. The globalization is a term much heard and used, but often ill defined, if defined at all. Globalization can be interpreted as communal lifestyle on Earth. In the contemporary international society, which has applied several concepts to describe neoliberal. Globalization, including technology, uncertainty, and ethics. A scholar named Mueller and a scholar named Hiscox in 2006, they suggested that we should leave it according to the perspective of labor, trading, economics, and education. In reality, the main challenge is to come to terms with the phenomenology of social-linguistic globalization. So this phenomenology touches 4 domains: proper globalization effects on language, on migration patterns and immigrant communities, on language hierarchies, and on remote communities, thus regarding their possibilities of globalization success. So world citizens are becoming more interconnected into one social order where all people are more equal with somewhat similar styles and opportunities. So they are learning to interrelate peacefully, resolve mutual human problems, and survive together in their global village through cross-cultural interaction and intercontinental collaboration. So globalization has the potential to improve our health, our safety, and human rights. It is not just about the effective utilization of resources. Globalization is also a necessary thing to achieve workable solutions for environmental sustainability. For that reason, in the beginning of the 3rd millennium, numerous global associations have come of age, such as the World Wild Animal Fund, the United Nations, World Health Association, and World Trade Organization. And these intercultural organizations provide convenient and speedy channels of intercontinental communication and support. And the globalization education examples of Switzerland, Japan, and China is like this. Okay. Some scholars have noticed that globalization leads to governmental and organizational policy change. For example, in multilingual Switzerland, their industrialization experts, bankers, parents, and professional groups and academics are under tensions of articulating an ideology of globalization of English. And during the last 2 decades, the globalization challenge for European higher education has been continuously discussed. And this discussion have most often led to identifying common features, trends, issues, and policy directions. Moreover, globalization implies a challenge to and questioning of national and local cultures. Universalization of certain cultural aspects and the particularization and the revival of the others. A new role for the national states to mediate universalization and encourage competitiveness and territorialization. Okay? So if globalization is to be seriously taken into consideration of classroom, it depends on the policy of diverse area. And Mayers, a scholar, believes the United States might not have argue the necessity of globalization education sufficiently in all schools. Due to complexity and the fact that some administrators prefer traditional views of national identity and patriotism over learning about the world. And in the East, the Espinal analyzes the way in which Japanese government policies on English language education and the promotion of study abroad were implemented. Espinal mentioned that education policy designed to help to prepare Japan for language of globalization is constantly challenged by institutional inertia, norms of teaching and learning, and concept of national culture that abstract of the mastering of foreign language or acceptance of cultural ethic or linguistic diversity. And this is not unique to Japan. In fact, the Chinese government is determined to seize the opportunities brought by globalization to hasten modernization. And this research argued that schools can associate English language education to globalization, also supported by block and camera. So we talk about subject about power transition and educational policies. Interest in the analysis of effect of globalization process on education policy in general terms has increased in recent years based on all et al. Likewise, globalization plays roles in diversion of power, including changing the poor into the rich and the weak into the powerful. Most research today acknowledges that globalization and the financialization have had significant effect on the more traditional basis of power found within political and bureaucratic structure, reshaping the flows of power. Some studies are needed to understand whether and how the groups are taking the place of more established elite groups within local, national, or international fields of power. Okay, we will talk about the frontier disappearing, showing the textbook and school policies. And we are now in late post-modernity, experiencing the effects of globalization and transnationalism on societies in general and on education in particular, based on Young Committee in 2012. And Barton and Cashwell have also written that international immersion experiences are important. Through ongoing direct cross-cultural contact, participants challenged their assumptions and the stereotypes and began viewing cultural differences as rigid. Consequently, recent research on globalization and education policy has indicated that the force of globalization and accountability have affected the nature and the value of school textbook. Globalization of education refers to worldwide network processes and institutions affecting local education practice and policies. The major global institutions affecting worldwide educational policies are Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and also the World Bank and the United Nations Education and Scientific and Cultural Organization. Now let's talk about the methods of education in the social environment. Okay, various world challenges can be found in the international mass media such as British Broadcasting Corporation or cable news network, because information can be transmitted rapidly due to swift educational developments and convenient communication. Global collaboration is one important goal of our collective international features. According to Schnee et al. In 2010, organization communication is significant, suggesting universal institutions train their members with flexibility, non-bureaucratic principles and structures for achieving human common goal. Acting mentioned that linguistic master Chomsky believes the primary function of language is to mediate cognition to be adapted. And the advantage is in socially mediating the relationship with our nature world. Therefore, language has provided human beings with selective advantage over our predators and competitors by allowing us to work together more effectively in groups. And language is for social action, and language learning means learning how to operate adaptively in our common social environments, which have primary role of mediating our relationship with nature. So we will talk about the university global education in the current period. Globalization education is necessary for a strong university education. Corstock in 20 years ago argued education should respond meaningfully and creatively to social change. To make national and global improvement in a harmonic atmosphere, its study shows that university students with different majors have to be prepared for the upcoming tasks. In the future, the Chinese university students are going to cope with global controversy, cooperate, and resolve globalization problems with international acquaintances that are facing the same challenges. When designing ESL curriculum for university students from perspective of globalization, both teachers and students have to accumulate enough knowledge in different domains. Scholars in education, history, and the social science have to set forth ways in which schools should prepare young people for life in a global age. This is suggested by Auger and Wolf et al. When preparing to teach university students in different departments and majors, diverse topics related to wide-ranging issues should be incorporated for the students' major. Talk about the view of globalization issues to be applied as teaching and learning materials. The global issue can inspire, motivate, and encourage students. First, topics that are included with the international tension or disagreement, such as nuclear proliferation, terrorism, loss of culture and territory of ocean, and river can inspire students to talk and share ideas in groups of pairs. Secondly, non-native speaking students will become interested in learning follow-up details by studying economic issues, disorder in financial markets, trade policy and distribution of wealth and health, and transnational cooperation. Thirdly, the studying about social problems such as increasing pollution, drug crisis, disappearing resources, poverty, overpopulation, and lawlessness can motivate students to learn how they can actively participate in searching for mutual solutions